Welcome to Fresh Perspectives, a series with professionals who have insights. And today I'm with Tori Macdonald, who describes herself as a creative communications alchemist. We'll be back to that in a moment. I met Tori in Lisbon, where she was at that time on a digital nomad journey. And that's our topic for today. We're not just talking about work, we're talking about the life of digital nomads and the ups and downs that can bring. But first, Tori, would you like to explain to us what does a creative communications alchemist actually do?
Very good question, John. Yes, first of all, thank you for having me here today. I'm very grateful to be a part of this. So for me, I've always been really into all kind of forms of communication. That's what I love to do. And you might get thrown off by the word alchemist. When you look up the definition of alchemist, it's all about transforming something using a seemingly magical process. And I've always been really into personal transformation, transformational work along the lines of personal development. And so how I like to look at it is how we can really improve and expand on the communication sphere by taking it to the next level, by really going in to the depths of it and harnessing more creativity, more around storytelling, and using more intuitive faculty as well to create a completely refined work and communications.
Amazing. We'll come back to some of that in a moment. For anyone who's listening, Tori and I had an earlier conversation where she talked about her acting career as well as her background working in business communication. So there's a lot more to this alchemy that perhaps we won't have time to go into today. So our main topic for today is the life of a digital nomad. Do you want to tell us a bit about that, Tori? Because I met you here in Lisbon when you were passing through as part of your nomad journey, as so many other people are in Lisbon. This brand new term that just didn't exist 10 years ago of a digital nomad. Tell us a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is a digital nomad? For me, I grew up in a multicultural environment, going to international schools and things like that. So I've always had a big passion and appreciation for culture, for travel, for people. So when I first came across this term digital nomad, which essentially means working remotely, which facilitates you to travel and explore the world and still have a lot of experiences while you're still doing your job. I thought this sounded incredible, because why only confine the time we take for holiday or for experience to just 2, 3, 4 weeks of the year, and the rest of the time needing to be rooted in one place, in one office? What if there's a way we can combine and still get the job done, but still get to have all of these experiences and ultimately explore what the world has to offer at the same time? So yeah, that's kind of what it means. And for me, as soon as I became aware of this, I spent years dreaming about this and trying to find a way that I could make this work for myself. So when it finally did become my reality and I was able to work my job remotely whilst simultaneously growing my own business, developing my own side projects, it was just the perfect combination.
Now, there's no end of influencers out there singing the praises of the nomad lifestyle and doing, yoga sessions in Bali and, coaching sessions on the beach, all of this. However, that rather romantic allure can be rather a long way from the reality, right? One of the reasons I've invited you today is to talk about the other side to the romantic allure. What's the reality like of being a digital nomad?
Indeed, John. And, it's really great to be able to talk about this today, because it's a conversation that hasn't really been had very much yet, as it's still quite a new concept. I think the majority of people are kind of still going just through that honeymoon phase. And as you said it, romantic allure, I think in general, when we have dreams on something, we always view it with rose-tinted glasses, but everything that we aspire to will always come with difficulties. It's just a part of the human experience. And so what I've come to realize after being a digital nomad for the last couple of years is that there are indeed challenges that come with this as well. And what I would say is kind of one of the first couple of things revolves around relationships, and building relationships. It's great to meet so many like-minded people, as I have done on this journey so far. I think a lot of people that want to do this digital nomad life are people that are seeking more, wanting to broaden their horizons and really enlarge their life experience, which is great. And I've had so many stimulating conversations and connections because of that. But because of the kind of transient nature of this lifestyle, a lot of many people that you meet aren't there for the long term. They're kind of just there for a short and a good time. So that's come with challenges in really building or setting the ground, the foundation for long-term, really deep connections with people, on a social level, on a professional level, and on a romantic level as well. This can be challenging in all of those spheres.
How does that challenge show up? What would be an example of a typical challenge, i.e., for this short-term contact or short-term relationship build can really cause pain?
I would say, just from having met with people on several occasions, whether you just meet up to, have a drink, have a meal, or you attend events or something together and you get to share these experiences and start to, find alignment, common grounds between you and, and just start to, just build a relationship, build a connection. And then, one day, sometimes it can be from one day to the next, or 1 week to the next, that the person suddenly decides they want to move on, or, their initial expectations that hadn't previously been discussed then come up later on. And this proves challenging because you can sort of start to feel that you've put a lot of energy into something. And it's great to then still have this connection. But if they're not there next to you in the long term, as you're going through, it makes it hard to really build something strong. So, the upside of that is then you get to have all of these amazing connections that are spread out all over the world, which gives you even more reason to go and visit more places. But, who's there, say, if you're having a bad day and you need someone to turn to, and, your best friend is 6 or 9 hours away in time difference, in those crucial moments, that's where these really long-term, deeper, developed connections really count, and that's proved to be a harsh reality, as I've experienced.
There's obviously a personal cost, exactly as you described. What about professionally? Is there a professional impact?
I would say on the professional side of things, if you're someone that is, I think with digital nomad people, you can either be working remotely from a company or perhaps you are self-employed. And in this instance, some people like to work in co-working spaces. So in that reality, you can overcome, which is another challenge of this situation, which is loneliness. That remote working life can become very, very isolating, as we all saw from living through COVID, but it's, continues with the digital nomad lifestyle as well. So some people opt to work in co-working spaces to be around more people and fulfill that, kind of team working life in a way. But then you face that issue of people not staying for long in these co-working spaces. And you have to keep, dealing with this change around of people, this turnaround, and keep adapting, which can prove really frustrating as well. Sometimes 1 week to the next, you don't know who you're going to be sat next to. And with that poses the issue of, kind of losing steam a little bit in making an effort to build connections with people, because then it's like, is this actually worth my time?
Yeah. And I'm reading between the lines of what you're saying, there's also the quality of the connection, isn't there? Because if everybody is transient, if there's always another 20 people to meet tomorrow, then often what suffers is the depth of those connections. And that loss of depth, definitely, we can end up having casual relationships with people and we don't really know what they do. We have this vague idea of what they do, but we don't really know what they do. And I can see that having a very significant impact professionally as well as personally.
Yes.
If anyone was contemplating this journey, and I'm sure, are you open, if someone is thinking of being a digital nomad, are you open to a conversation with them?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Okay.
think, yeah.
Just putting that out there for anyone who might be sitting in their banking job at the moment and dreaming of Bali. The What would you say to somebody who was, sitting at a desk in, the city of London or Brussels or wherever at the moment, and dreaming of faraway shores and a mobile lifestyle? What kind of advice or what sort of tips would you give?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel, having said that, I'm still a big advocate for this, and I wouldn't have changed this experience for the world. But I think it's just really important to think through, what your values are, how you imagine this lifestyle to look. Get
Mm,
really honest, really real with yourself. Really spend time to reflect on this and set out how you expect things to be, and then take into consideration, some of these factors, some of this, the short term nature of things, the likelihood of spending more time by yourself, and
mm.
ask yourself, am I prepared to deal with this as a possibility?
If anyone would like to continue this conversation, you're welcome to reach out to Tori. Tori, thanks for coming and sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you for having me, John. And yeah, reach out. Always happy to have a conversation. Take care, everyone.